The movie begins in the near future in New York City, with the protagonist Rachel having a soothing dream in which she sees herself pregnant. The world that they live in is heavily affected by artificial intelligence. In the next few scenes, we see the extent to which technology has mixed with the daily lives of humans. They have a personal AI voice assistant.
Good morning, Rachel. Did you have a good night's sleep?
That actively sets their daily schedule, tracks their moods, and even suggests what clothes to wear.
I suggest silver fossil for today.
Meanwhile, artificial nature pods installed inside homes have negated the need for actual time spent in nature. However, Rachel's reality is quite different from her dream. She doesn't have the time to go through the hassles of pregnancy, even though she and her husband Alvy are interested in becoming parents. Alvy is a botanist, a profession which is on the brink of extinction thanks to all the technological advancements in society. Meanwhile, Rachel is a hardworking and successful employee at a leading tech company named Pegasus. She soon receives a promotion at the company for her efforts. During the promotion interview, the HR manager asks Rachel about her financial conditions. As her husband is a botanist, she's the primary breadwinner of her home. The HR manager then points out that pregnancy at this point may derail her career and prove to be economically disastrous. As an alternative, Pegasus is willing to deposit a down payment if Rachel chooses to have a baby through a company named Womb Center. Later in Rachel's office, her AI assistant schedules a nature pod session for her during lunchtime, but she's interrupted by a phone call from the Womb Center. They inform her that she has successfully made it through the wait list for using their revolutionary artificial womb pods. They ask her to call them back to secure her spot and arrange a tour. When she calls back, they agree on a tour of the facilities down the week. During lunchtime, Rachel enjoys her nature pod session in an artificial tree where she dreams of holding a baby by the beach. Back from her lunch break, Rachel tells her colleague Alice that she got a spot at the Womb Center. Delighted for her friend, Alice suggests they celebrate the news with a get-together at her home. But Rachel reveals that she hasn't even informed her husband about being on the wait list for the artificial birth. After work, Rachel speaks to her AI therapist Eliza, who asks why she never told Albie she was on the wait list. Our protagonist says it's because she's worried about her husband's reaction, since he wants a natural birth. However, Eliza then assures her that her pod baby won't be any less natural than one born inside a human uterus. We can see that Rachel isn't fully convinced by her AI therapist's answers. That evening in their apartment, Rachel is about to open a conversation with her husband, but he tells her about his day and how his students were apprehensive about interacting with nature. Eventually, the students opened up to the experience. He then adds that the world began to unravel when corporations began treating nature like a commodity, which led to people being emotionally unfulfilled. Hearing this, the wife decides to keep the news about the Womb Center a secret for now. Later that week, Rachel attends the tour by herself, where the clients watch a video of the Pegasus founder. He addresses the declining birth rate in first world countries and attributes it to pregnancy being inconvenient for women. He then talks about how the company was founded to allow women to have careers while remaining unhindered by laborious pregnancies. Following this, the director of the center, Linda, welcomes the clients by announcing that humans have control over nature. She then begins the tour of the facility and guides the visitors to the incubation room. In this futuristic world, the Womb Center has devised a scientific way of making babies inside artificial eggs called pods. Here, she shows the clients the huge artificial hard eggshell-like structure with a baby growing inside it. Furthermore, the parents can also use their phones or tablets to expose the growing embryo to different audio like music and podcasts. She also says that they can choose the types of flavors their baby feeds on, suggesting various options so the child doesn't turn out to be a picky eater. A client asks how long the pod can function when disconnected from the base. In response, the director says it can be separated for up to 48 hours, which allows the parents to take the pod when traveling. Rachel asks if the baby can hear the outside world like a natural baby can hear in the uterus. The director replies that they can and encourages them to speak to their child even when it's inside the pod. After the tour, Linda asks Rachel for a deposit to confirm her interest in the procedure. That evening in their apartment, Albie tells his wife that he got a notification about an $8,700 deposit. He asks if they should notify the bank, asking if it's a fraud alert. However, Rachel reveals that she made the payment and that her work would cover it as a part of her promotion package. Coming clean to her husband, she admits that she had put their names on the wait list of the womb center, never expecting to hear back from them. Confused, Albie expresses his disappointment that she went on the tour and agreed to grow their child inside a pod without informing him. Remorseful, she apologizes and says that she wants to have a baby with him. The two then hug each other and promise to discuss the matter further. To appease his worries, she suggests they talk to her friend Alice and her husband Ben to learn more about the experience. The next evening, Ben shows the couple how to hold the pod with a strap. Alice talks about how having the option of growing a baby in a pod allows a couple to have equal childcare responsibility. When Ben asks when they'll take the tour, Rachel lies and says they don't know. Then he asks Albie if he wants to hold the pod, but he politely declines. After they return to their apartment, the couple have an argument. Albie is still wary of the procedure and expresses his concern about the pod's plastic material. But Rachel says all that matters is that the baby thinks it's a real womb. Offended, she says that if he can carry the baby in the pod just like Ben, she knows that they could lose their spot at the womb center if they asked for more time. That night, after the couple makes love, Albie says he changed his mind and thinks they should go through with the pod. He can see how much it matters to his wife and agrees to give the process a chance. The next day, the couple meets with Linda, who asks if it's important to them that Albie is the baby's father. Confused, they ask why that's even a question. Linda explains that all they need to conceive the baby is Rachel's ovum and her skin cells, which means they won't need any DNA from a male donor. However, she points out that if they wish to have a son, they will need the Y chromosome from a male donor. Without hesitation, Rachel insists her husband to be the child's father, and they agree to let nature decide the gender of the baby. Following this, the couple nervously watches the process of Rachel's ovum getting fertilized on a huge screen while Linda narrates everything happening. After the successful insemination, the director congratulates the expecting parents, who seem to be extremely happy. Minutes later, a worker shows them the zygote inside a cryogenic tube. When they return to the apartment, the couple receives a call from Rachel's parents. During the call, her father tells Albie to think about selling his property on Shell Island, since they could use the money now that they're expecting a baby. Aware of how her husband feels about the topic, Rachel tells her father to drop the subject. Later, in the incubation room at the womb center, she asks a nurse if she could see their baby